On X, a man named Taylor Marshall asked a question I thought was interesting. He said, in 2026, what does the Republican Party offer young men ages 15 to 29? Give specific answers. Well, here's my answer. Except I'm not really interested in playing specific demographic games. How do you reach out to this age group? How do you reach out to men? How do you reach out to women? How do you reach out to black people? How do you reach Jewish people? Maybe it's my biblical roots and worldview. I don't really view any kind of people as special or needing a special approach. I think what's good for the goose is good for the Michigander. So let's expand those parameters. Let's say 18 to 80 instead of 15 to 29. What the Republican Party has to offer men, to all men, is territory and resources and the chance to conquer, to make your mark on something. Donald Trump showed this a decade ago when he took his escalator ride into American politics and immediately started to dominate the Republican Party. And no, the congressional Republicans have not gotten the memo. And no, Donald Trump is not perfect. But he did show us what's possible. I joke sometimes on X that I don't know how the Democrat Party survived the Civil War. These are the people who are willing to split America in half in defense of slavery and were willing to fight a war to do so. Then and now, when abortion, the right to kill your offspring, is their biggest issue, they're unfit for leadership. And here they are, still in existence to this day, never fully out of the grasp of power. But the more I think about it, the more I wonder how the Republican Party survived the Civil War. Let's think about it. The Republican Party is founded in Jackson, Michigan, July 1854, under the Oaks, as an anti-slavery party. Well, by April 1865, slavery was done and the Civil War was over. There was no reason, except for power itself, for the Republican Party to continue. It had already achieved its goal, right? But Republicans did have power, so they did continue. And in the 170 years there's been a Republican Party, there's been 3 successful iterations. One, you have the anti-slavery party of the 1850s. They rode that high ground. They waved the bloody shirt, the war-stained, blood-stained shirt, and rode that high ground into the early 1900s. Then you have the anti-communist party of the Cold War. They rode that high ground into the 2000s. And now you have a third iteration right now, currently, as a MAGA party, Make America Great Again party, under Donald Trump, which appears to be running on fumes. This war in Iran, the longer it goes, the more it looks like something George W. Bush would have done. It's the exact opposite of the America First agenda that Republican voters were promised. And I hope in that brief sweep of history, you see the problem here. You can be anti-slavery, anti-communist, and MAGA without ever being pro the American people, without ever being America first. We're seeing that right now with $3 gas prices and a completely pointless war in Iran that goes on even after we killed its leader. Taylor Marshall asked, what does the Republican Party have to offer men? I answer this: the best thing of all, land to conquer. What it has to offer men is the same thing an old man, Donald Trump, saw when he took that escalator ride. Then he conquered the Republican Party, and he showed all of us what's possible. You know what we're up against? Who our real opposition is? A Republican Party who's too weak to fight for us because it's too weak to fight for itself. In Texas, U.S. Senator John Cornyn is fighting for his political life. He's in a primary right now against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a very popular Republican. So Cornyn's fighting for, he's watching his political future flash before his eyes. And the best thing he can come up with to hit Paxton on is saying that Paxton stole a pen more than a decade ago. As Jay-Z once said, a gun in your face and that's all you could come up with? So we're sitting here wondering why Republicans don't fight for us when John Cornyn is showing that Republicans won't even fight for themselves. So what does the Republican Party have to offer men? The answer Taylor Marshall is obviously looking for is that there's nothing. That conservatism is just communism going the speed limit. That we'd all better just black pill and find solace in Jesus because there's no earthly solutions coming. Yada, yada, yada. The answer I'll give is a bit different. What does the Republican Party have to offer men? Same thing it had to offer Trump. Territory, resources, and the opportunity to conquer. It's not every day you have a 170-year-old political party just there for the taking, waiting to be overtaken, led by old men who could be blown away by a strong wind, let alone a movement. Donald Trump did it in a decade. What's stopping me and you from doing the same thing? If you are thinking with your right mind, the Republican Party looks like the land of milk and honey. And that's why we have to overtake it. That's why I'm going on tour. That's why we're talking about how to make politics local again. Because I've realized the same thing you probably have, that politics is way too important to be left to politicians. And so now we must overtake the Republican Party. If John Cornyn has told us anything, it's that this takeover won't be much of a fight.